Om Akhandamandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Harihi Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramakrishnaya. Welcome to the 69th week of the readings and reflections on the life of Holy Mother. This is the book that we have taken up for reading. Book is titled Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi, written by Swami Gambhiranandaji. We are in the 19th chapter now and page 260. So as usual, I would read from this book the closing paragraphs of this chapter, and then we shall take up some points for discussion. The mother's heart was moved by the country's miseries. At times, her eyes were blood red at the iniquities of the foreign exploiters, or shed profuse tears at their heartless oppression. But as an ultimate remedy to all the sorrows, she clung to the Master and asked others also to do so. In fact, all her thoughts and deeds centered on Sri Ramakrishna. Those were the days of the Swadeshi movement. So, when one patriot asked her, "Mother, will not the trials and tribulations of this country ever end?" the mother replied that the Master had come for that very purpose. Accordingly, though she was attracted by the practical enthusiasm of the devotees of Kualpada, she decided that the Master should be installed in the ashrama as its presiding deity. For otherwise, the workers would soon be swept off their moorings. That was why she wanted to initiate the Master's worship there on her way to Calcutta. That was the middle of November when it is cold in the morning. But as the mother had to perform the Master's worship at Kualpara, she started early by a palanquin. And Lakshmi Devi, Maku, and Radhu's husband Manmatha followed her in separate palanquins, while the mad aunt Nalini Devi, Bhudev, and others traveled by bullock carts. And there was Brahmachari Prakash as the manager of the party. The Kualpada devotees made adequate arrangements for the Master's worship. The mother bathed after arriving there, and then placing on the altar the Master's photograph, and by its side her own, she worshipped them duly. Brahmachari Kishori, afterwards Swami Parameshwarananda, performed the Homa at her bidding. When the installation of the Master was over, all took prasada. After this, and before the midday meal, the mother walked with her nieces, Lakshmi and Nalini, to Kedar's house at a little distance. When Brahmachari Prakash came to know of this, he became annoyed and said to the local devotees, "You know nothing of the mother's position and prestige. Why did you make her walk without my knowledge? Anyway, you should bring her back in a palanquin." But not waiting for his order to be executed, he went with a palanquin and 2 ashrama inmates to bring her. They met the mother on the way, and Brahmachari Prakash requested her to get into the palanquin, which she did without a murmur. But on arriving at the ashrama, she reproached him, saying, "This is our rural resort. Kualpada is my parlor. These are my own boys. I want to be a little free in my movements so long as I am here. When I come from Calcutta, I heave a sigh of relief. There, you keep me shut up in a cage. I am always under restraint. If here too I have to toe the line, well, I shan't be able to do so. You may inform Sharath accordingly. Then the brahmachari begged her pardon, explaining that in his enthusiasm to see that there was no lack of attention on his part, he had been guilty of unwittingly curtailing her liberty. It was planned that the journey should be resumed after 6 o'clock in the evening, and the food to be taken on the way should be made ready by then. But in spite of their best efforts, the ashrama people could not finish their work in time. As this irritated the brahmachari, they suggested that the Calcutta party might start according to schedule and that they would somehow overtake them with the food on the way. The mother, who heard it all, reprehended the brahmachari thus: "What makes you lose your balance and take them to task like that? This is village atmosphere. Can everything be got ready by the clock as in Calcutta? Don't you notice how diligently the boys have been working from the morning? Whatever you may say, there will be no moving out of here before finishing our meals." Accordingly, all had to wait and start for Vishnupur after food at 8 o'clock in the 8 bullock carts. So the chapter Angle of Vision concludes here. It's a very interesting chapter, of course. Swami Gambhirananji introduces us a- an element in the characteristic nature of Holy Mother. One of them that he wants us to understand about Holy Mother is she stood by her decision. However, you may say that no, it is not good, it is not proper at this time, it doesn't suit us. So many reasons you can bring. But she wiped off all those reasons and said, "Look, now I am telling, do this." This was in contrast to what the life she led in Calcutta. She herself says in the last paragraph, we saw how she rebuked that brahmachari Prakash, who was said to be the manager of the entire group. So they were all leaving for Calcutta from Jairambati. They have come to Koalpada. From Koalpada, they are leaving. So she said, "What is this? You seem to control me here also. In Calcutta, I understand there are certain restrictions. Okay. But in the village, when I come, it's my village. I was born here and I went out everywhere here. So I will move according to my freedom." See, that is one of the important things of the divine people. Before going into that point to be taken in the last, let me look back where we left in the last week. The last week we saw, yes, see, Holy Mother had said three instances we saw. One was the Swadeshi movement and the cloth, that is boycotting the foreign cloth movement, and the Kualpada ashram itself, we saw what type of activities they were doing and how Holy Mother corrected them. So with all this background, when we come to this week's readings, we find some important points also has been raised here. You know, the first paragraph, she says that the mother's heart was moved by the country's miseries. At times, her eyes were blood red at the iniquities of the foreign exploiters. even though she is very well accepting the idea of the Kualpada Center and its activities, because they were all inspired by Swami Vivekananda's teachings, his call for the nation, and they have put themselves under his feet and said, Swamiji, we shall obey your orders. And so they were doing all the spinning of the wheels, etc., etc., making themselves completely Indianized. So the foreign goods have to be boycotted. So all those things we saw last week. Now, there is an important point Swami Gambhirananji brings out to us is this, that whatever work is done in an ashram, whatever, anything that you can think of, whatever work is done in the ashram, how it should be done? It should be done with having their feet in their moorings. It's a very important sentence I find in this book itself. It says, she decided, she means Holy Mother, decided that the master should be installed in the ashrama as its presiding deity, for otherwise the workers would soon be swept off their moorings. A very, I should say, a very strong statement. Why it is strong statement? Because can't you do, the question may be raised, can't you do a social work? Can't you do something good for the welfare of the society without having master as the center of the activity? There are innumerable people who are not known master at all, who have not heard of master in those times, and they sacrifice their life for the country's welfare. So why master should be brought? The question may come. Many people also raise this question. Without thinking of God as the center of our activities, can we not become a social worker? There are, in most of the governments, they have a designation, a post for the government servants called social worker post. Social worker designation is given to the people who have passed their studies, who have done studies, either diploma or graduation in the field of social welfare work. There are many companies, factories, they have social welfare officers. So they do social work. So social work is a very big term, quite a broad term to include even the mental sufferings if anybody undergoes and a person goes and pacifies them and consoles them. He is also called a social worker. She is also called a social worker who goes and takes care of the children. So there are many types of social work activities that have been found out to be useful in the society. So a social work as a profession has come up now. So many people in their graduation stage, they study the social work course and become so eligible for getting the designation in the government or in the private factories as a social welfare worker or social welfare officer. So what is the difference then between the service activities that the Ramakrishna Mission does and the service activities that are done by the social workers? Easily, this question can be raised. When Swami Gambhirananji, the author of this book, I first saw him in Kanpur Ashram when I was a brahmachari there. So he came there, and I had a wonderful one-to-one interaction with him. He was a great man, and very quiet. And he was telling us, all the seven brahmacharis were there. We all sat under his feet. And he was telling us, you see, you could do all this work even staying outside the ashram. So he told us, in this ashram, that is Kanpur ashram, what are the work you are doing? So one brahmachari was telling about his allotted work. So one brahmachari said, Maharaj, I come and assist in the temple activity. I make the chandan, I collect the flowers, and I make all the arrangement for the Pujari Maharaj. He's a very elderly person. Pujari Maharaj was there. Wonderful Swami. Arkanandaji's name was. He was a beauty conscious man. That means how the altar has to be decorated. We must learn today. See, when I went to Singapore, I saw every week on Saturday morning, the altar was rearranged. That is, the altar deco was rearranged. Altar is there, of course. And every week, a new type of decoration was given by the volunteers, by the devotees who come and work. And they would arrange, they would like to see Sri Ramakrishna every week in a new setup. This I saw in 1970s, long back. 1970s, I saw in Kanpur. Our Pujari Maharaj used to do. So in many of the centers, we try to change every week. That's why here also, here, we have got a small shrine here. So we request our devotees, please bring flowers for the decoration of the shrine on either Friday night or Saturday morning. So Saturday, Sunday is important days for us because it's the holidays. So people can come. And unfortunately, during the COVID days, people have stopped coming because you cannot travel outside beyond the 5-kilometer distance. So there are restrictions due to COVID. Okay, so we are not getting so many devotees here now. But then some devotees are very prompt and they still remember that request and they bring here flowers. So when the flowers are brought, then it is separated and a plan is made. How many flower bouquet we require? How many flower vases should be there on the front, on the top, and on the below? And in each, what type of color combination should be given? Whatever flowers come, you get all the flowers together and then look at them and then plan now the decoration plan comes up in the mind. And then you plan. Every week, it is not same. It changes according to the color of the flowers, according to the kinds of flowers. So all those things changes. So every week, we would like to see Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother Swamiji, and in our altar, Lord Buddha and Lord Jesus Christ, and our sister Nivedita. So you find 7 pictures are there. So with all the pictures have to be decorated. So unique way we think of it every week. And that is what the Pujari Maharaj used to do it. So the Brahmachari said, I have to assist the Pujari Maharaj. Then another Brahmachari said, well, I go to early morning and the evening 2 times to the library. And there is a Swami in charge of the library. He is a librarian. I go and assist him in the library work. You see, you have to clean that. There was no servant to clean the library. The Brahmachari has to do that. And he has to make everything set ready for the library to be open for the public. When the public come, they must see the library is absolutely spick and span. And you know that everywhere in Ramakrishna tradition, in all the shrines and the places of worship and the halls and the ashrams, they are kept spick and span, unlike the traditional ashramas. So you'll find that this spick and span is a very important point, which Swamiji was very particular. Sri Ramakrishna himself was particular. That's why we find in Ramakrishna's gospel, when Brahmachari, Latu came one day, and then he asked him to take out from the shelf something. And then once the work is over, asked him to put back. So Sri Ramakrishna is telling him, from exactly which place you took out, in that place you should put back. So that in the night, when everything is dark, if I go and put my hand in that spot, I must get what I want. Such extremity that exactly what item should be at what place. If it is all haphazard, some houses also we have seen, they don't keep it spick and span. And when you enter their house, you find surprised how they are maintaining this Because you want anything, where you have to search, you do not know. The whole house you have to search. Some people keep things like that. How many books you read? 4 books if you take out in a day and you throw them here and there, instead of putting it back exactly in the book place. So our nature is not very well disciplined. It shows that, that's all. But the discipline is very must for the brahmacharis. So in the Ramakrishna tradition, we are taught like that. So when one brahmachari said he has to go to the library work, another brahmachari said, that was me, said, Maharaj, I have to go to the hospital, that is a dispensary that we maintain. Morning duty is from 8 o'clock a dispensary opens and up to 12:1 it goes till the last patient leaves. So there are patients coming with lots of problems. And it was me who was the first person they meet. So I had to be very kind to them, smilingly welcome them, and make them seated comfortably in the benches. And then arrange for them the parcha, as they call it in Hindi. We used to give parcha by writing their name, age, and then what is their problem which they are telling, write in 2-3 words, and then give it to them. So they will wait for the doctors coming, and then according to the number they will go. That's a very important point. And then once it is done in the evening, I could go there and then arrange medicines in the boxes from the stock. I have to fill up. So how much I filled up today, I have to keep a note. So quite a tough job it was, the hospital, the dispensary work, and that was given to me. And then along with this, in my leisure time, as it is called leisure time, say 3 to 4 like that, this time the office Swamiji would call me and said, come and assist me in writing the books of accounts. So that also I could do. And slowly I could learn the puja work also there. So likewise, other brahmacharis started telling their jobs. Then Swami Gambhirananji is asking, well, I don't think any type of uniqueness in the job you are doing. Suppose we had employed employees. Suppose I employed some men for this type of work. They would also do the same thing. Is it not? Or perhaps they may do efficiently, more efficiently than you. So what is the difference between their working and your working? The obvious difference is they will receive salary, but we don't receive salary because we are not employees. We belong to the order. So this is our work. That is one obvious difference. But more than that, Swami Gambhiranji impressed upon us, no, I am not talking about those differences. Those are all preliminary differences. Important difference is you are performing every activity of the ashram centering around Sri Ramakrishna. This was the revelation. And that is what Mother insists here. She's telling Kedar Babu, you are doing so much work in this Koalpada ashram. Quite right. I accept that. Okay, continue. But what I want is all the persons who are performing the different activities must center their activities in Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna is the abiding deity for us. So he should be centered. That means what? It means to realize the God as well as the welfare of the community. These two things should be combined together. So you cannot keep one set aside and another one. So the main difference between the social workers and the Ramakrishna Mission monks and devotees for their activities, the main difference is what? The main difference is a two-pronged purpose is there. The one purpose is to realize God. Second purpose is that activity that I'm doing must be for the welfare of the society. Both should be together taken, not separately. So the social workers who have studied social work and philosophy, etc., and do social work as their employment, they may not have this ideal. Combining these two into one, Atmano Mokshartham Jagat Hitaya Cha. This is the motto given by Swami Vivekananda for the Ramakrishna order. Many people ask us, what is your motto? Why this organization was set up? So we say this organization has come up with a motto, very small sentence, Atmano Mokshartham Jagat Hitaya Cha. What is the meaning of this? For one's own liberation, that is the first part. Second part is for the welfare of the world, for the good of the world. Are there not 2 points? Yes, there are 2 points are there. One is for the liberation of one's own self, and another is for the welfare of the others. So there is self and others. There is the two dichotomous points are there. But how Swami Vivekananda has combined these two with a small one-letter word in Sanskrit called cha. So he has put cha. Atmano mokshartam jagat hitaya cha. So the cha means what? And. So there must be a desire to realize God. At the same time, whatever you are going to do for realizing God must be productive to the society, must be to the welfare of the nation, welfare of the society or the humanity. So you see, this cha is very important in this. So if you think that no, I am not interested in the social welfare work, I am interested in my personal liberation only, okay, you can go. You can go and then you can go to Rishikesh or Himalayas or go anywhere and then you can do your personal liberation. Nobody is stopping that. And that is not a bad ideal also. Mind you, Swamiji never decried that ideal for going for a tapasya and all alone sitting in a cave or in a forest and you are trying to realize yourself, Atman, within you. It is not decried. But if you want to be associated with the Ramakrishna order, then of course this motto stands in front of you. There is a beauty here. Without this motto, you will not be aligning yourself with this order. So if you want to align with this order, then this motto has to be kept up in front of you. So Jagat Hitaya. So all the work that we do, if we keep up this Atmano Mokshartham, then what happens? Then what happens? You get a philosophy of work. This philosophy of work is not a small thing, I tell you. Swami Vivekananda gave us this philosophy of work to us. So you can say it as a new philosophy of work has emerged from the teachings of Swamiji, which he derived from his master Sri Ramakrishna. And the same philosophy is enshrined in the mind of Sri Sarada Devi also. So Holy Mother also is having the same thing. And she says, and you see how Swami Vivekananda imbibed this new philosophy of work. If you ask me, I have to go back to that small incident in Swamiji's life. For the last 1 week, we are discussing about Swamiji only, all the time. Because his birth Tithi Puja was done only recently. So, after the next day, that is, 4th was his Tithi Puja, 5th day morning, I had to speak to Dubai devotees on Swami Vivekananda in our daily life. So there also we talked about Swami Vivekananda only. And to all the devotees while writing emails and even messages, we are bringing Swamiji. So today also, because Swamiji's birthday was just gone 2 days before, I think I must tell something about Swamiji also. How did he get this new philosophy of work that Swamiji propagated? So, this new philosophy is something based on certain principles. Every philosophy you should know must have some principles. So, the new philosophy of work, which Karma Yoga, as Swamiji entitled it, that is based on certain principles. So, what are the principles? If you see that one by one, I will tell you. Those who would like to note down, you can note down. The first principle of this philosophy, new philosophy, is all work is sacred. That means no work is demeaning to anybody. That means from the work of the highest work of giving lecture from the pulpit to going down to sweeping the bathrooms and toilets, no work should be considered as a demeaning. Every activity, every work is sacred. Actually, people make this difference. These are all secular activity. These are all sacred activity. Like that, we have a system in our tradition. So you wonder that. And traditional people will listen to that. The Hindus who are real Hindus, but then traditionalists, conservationists. What they say, no, Swamiji. The work has to be divided into two kinds. One is secular, another is sacred. You can't compare these two and make to mix up together. But that was not the thing. When Naren was sitting, Naren is the early name of Swami Vivekananda. When he has not become a monk, his name was Narendra. So he was called Naren. Full name was Narendranath Datta. This Naren, who was sitting once at the Dakshineswar Kali temple in Ramakrishna's room, and Sri Ramakrishna was speaking very highly about Chaitanya Deva's teachings. There was another 500 years before another incarnation came, and he was called Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who introduced the Bhakti movement and who strengthened the Bhakti movement all over India. Wherever he went, he has gone, wandered all over India, and he rejuvenated the Bhakti movement. The movement was there, of course. Bhakti, people were there. But he gave a great thrust for the moment to rejuvenate. And that Chaitanya Dev, he used to say, yes, how he used to bring out this bhakti. And this Chaitanya Dev, they were speaking, and Ramakrishna was going into half samadhi. He has kept his eyes half closed, and he has been thinking of Chaitanya Dev and the bhakti. When the bhakti comes, Ramakrishna becomes completely overpowered, by the devotional emotion. So that's what happening. Suddenly, he stopped, the singer. So the singer was telling something. In that poem, in that song that was coming, there are certain Bengali lines are there. So I don't want to take much time in telling them. The meaning was that once you have to find the taste for the name of the God. You have to spend time for thinking of God. Likewise, there are several things were coming in that. Then he stopped that singer, said, wait. Then Sri Ramakrishna, in that half entered samadhi status, he started telling, look, Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva. The Jiva Seva, that is the service to the Jiva, that is the being. Jiva means being. Any being, human, animals, birds, trees, mountains, what, rivers, you can take anything, any being in this world, Jiva. That should be served in what way? Shiva Jnane, with the knowledge of Shiva. The Shiva is inherent in the Jiva. So I have to serve other person with the knowledge of that Shiva is accepting my service through that person. So if a poor beggar comes and asks, please give me something, at least 2 rupees, 2 euros. You are giving the euros, okay. When you give that money, think that Shiva is within him and asking you. If you find an unlettered person who doesn't know and you want to teach him, so you teach him. Teach him with the knowledge that Shiva is sitting with him and learning from you. Likewise, physically affected person, a person who's got disease, you want to help him, take him to the hospital, show him to the doctor, purchase medicines. In Ireland, I don't spend medicines, the cost of medicines, because from the ashram, we don't spend. Why? Because there are devotees who come and tell Maharaj, what medicine you want, we will purchase and give you. Okay, you give me the medicines, I'll take it. But then, in what way they should give the medicines to me? That Lord Shiva is within me. I am helping this person with the medicines, thinking that Shiva is accepting my seva. This, when Sri Ramakrishna pronounced, Naren came out of that room and told his friends, look, if at all I get an opportunity in the future, I will declare this philosophy to the whole world, he said. And that is what comes here. If that is so, all work becomes sacred. Actually, no work is done by you or me or him or her. All work that carried on in this universe is done by the Lord himself. That is another beauty we get from the Gita. The Gita says very clearly, Aham hi sarva yajnanam. Here yajna means activity. Any type of activity, spiritual, mental, physical, any type of activity, aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhureva cha. Sri Krishna says in Gita, what he says? He says that in 9th chapter, 24th verse. He says, I am the bhokta. I am the enjoyer of these all the activities. Not only enjoyer, I am the Prabhu. I am the Lord of these activities. Aham hi sarva yajnanam. In first word itself, he uses the word aham. Here, aham means what? Not the Krishna of Vasudeva's son, Devaki's son. That Krishna may be historical. It may be there or may not be there. We don't care for that. But here the aham represents the divine power, the supreme divine, who is pervading the entire universe, is there, and that universe, in that all activities are done by me. I am the man who is the Prabhu, who is the Lord of all these activities. And also, I am the Bhokta. I enjoy. So if you do a particular activity and you say, I am Aham Karta, if you say, I have done this, is it proper? No. The Lord has done it. And you are claiming unnecessarily a prestige which doesn't suit you, which doesn't belong to you. So the name and fame that you crave for when you do a particular work well, then what happens? That particular work done well, that credit should not go to you. If you take the credit, then you are going against the principle of God. God says, I am the Prabhu, I am the Bhokta. How can you take away that portion from him and usurp it from him, actually, and attach it to yourself? That is called self-aggrandizement. A big word. But then that is what it shows. And then the next sentence itself, it says, Natu mam abhijananti tatvena atas chavanti te. If those people who think they are the karta, they are the doer of the work, and they are the enjoyer of the work, aham karta, aham bhokta. If anybody thinks like that type of people, they, what is? Mam abhijananti, na jananti. They do not know me. In truth, tattvena, in truth, who I am. I am not merely the son of Devaki and Vasudeva. I am something more. Vasudeva Sutam Devam, Kamsa Chanura Mardanam, Devaki Paramanandam, Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. Who am I? I am the Jagat Guru. And without knowing me, that is na jananti. Abhijananti, he says, in a special way, they do not know me. And what happens to them? If you think that you are the doer, if you think you are the bhokta, enjoyer, then what happens to you? You go to next birth. You are caught in the cycle of birth and death. You have no freedom. You cannot be free. No liberation for you. So Swamiji put the motto, liberation for oneself, Atmano Mokshartham. So if you want moksha, how can you go against the instruction of Lord Sri Krishna? You cannot. So the principles of Swamiji's Karma Yoga comes in this way, that every work is sacred. Then work as worship. Because God is doing all the work and some portion of work has been given to you to perform, so you are also doing that work. So, and here Sri Krishna in same Gita, he says in another place, he says in this 18th chapter, he says, look, yata sarva yata pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvamidam tatam swakarmana tamarbhyacha siddhim mindati manavaha. Manava means human. Human, siddhim mindati, he gets success in his work. How does he get success? He says, yata pravrittir bhutana, according to the one's own tendencies, according to the one's own likings and dislikes, according to one's own pravritti, what is given to you, what you have obtained by the last births, karma and bhavana, that you have accumulated, and you have come into this world, you are born with a new birth, and this birth, all these tendencies which are called samskara. So the samskaras are lying in your head. And accordingly, if you do your work, swakarmarna, tamas, says then, tam abhyarcha. Abhyarcha means doing worship. Swakarmana, according to your nature, if you perform activity, then what happens? Siddhim indati. You get success in your work. So the work, the first principle, as I said, all work is sacred. And second principle is work as worship. Is there any third principle? Yes. Service to man is service to God. Shiva Jnane Jiva Sheva. This is the point that Sri Ramakrishna put in the mind of Swami Vivekananda, and Vivekananda absorbed it and gave it to the world. So, as I told you earlier, that whether a poor man comes for money, or a sick man comes for healing, or a literate man comes for learning, whatever type of activities you do, you must do it in the thinking that the Lord is present within him. Otherwise, it has got no meaning. So a beautiful story comes in Mahabharata. It is in Vanaparva. Vanaparva is one of the parvas, 18 parvas of Mahabharata in the end. So there a story comes, a brahmachari goes to forest and he is doing tapasya there. And a cow's droppings fell on his head. You see, it's a mundan, the completely shaven head. And a cow drops, not cow, crow's droppings fall on his head. So it's very hot. So his meditation was disturbed. So he looked at the bird. The bird was sitting on top. And he said, "Oh bird, you disturbed my meditation." So he took little water in his hand and threw water, cursing the bird. "You will be burnt now," he said. And according to his words, immediately the bird got fire and it burnt. Then the brahmachari started thinking, I am doing tapasya in this forest for so many days. I never knew that I have got a power of word. If I utter something, it happens. Wow, this is wonderful. I never knew that I have this power. So he went as usual to for begging alms in the village. He went there. So first house he saw, he knocked the door. Three times he knocked, no reply. Again he knocked, no reply. Again he knocked, no reply. Then he got angry. First itself we saw in the forest itself he got angry on the crow. The same way, here also he got angry and he's thinking, my word will be definitely will give fruit. So if I curse the house lady or the house owner, then they will suffer. And he is getting anger because nobody is opening the door, you see. And from inside, when he got angry, from inside the lady, house lady, is shouting. She's telling, oh Brahmachari, please keep your patience. Don't get angry. I am not that crow in the tree that you could fire me up. This Brahmachari was stunned. All alone I was there in the forest. How this lady in a village could know that only this morning this happened? How it is possible? So he wanted to meet the lady and ask this question. He was curious, so he waited. So after the waiting was over, she came, opened the door, took him inside, made him all the hospitality, Atiti Devo Bhava. So when Atiti comes, you have to do all the hospitality. She did that and showed him her husband. You see, my husband has got vata. He cannot move his feet, he cannot move his hands. I was giving him bath. Steam bath I was giving him. So I cannot stop my service to my husband and attend to you. You have to wait for that. Then the brahmachari asked, okay, mother, very well, you have done a good thing. Okay, but then I want to know how you knew that morning what happened to me, that I burnt a crow. Sure, it's nothing. If you want to know the secret of how I came to know, 5 kilometers from this village, you go to another village. You will find a butcher there. That butcher will tell you the secret. And then he had his prasad and he came out and he's thinking, I am a Brahmana by birth. I should go to a Paraya who is a butcher. He cuts the animals. That man, I should go and sit under his feet and learn about spiritual truth. No, let me go back to my forest. So then he thought, no, the secret I have not learned. The lady did not tell me the secret. She told you learn from the butcher. So I must go to butcher and find out the secret. Knowledge is important. So he went to that village. There he saw, to his great consternation, that butcher was standing and a few purchasers, that is customers, were standing there in the line, and he was cutting the flesh of the meat and then putting it in the taraju, that weighing machine, and then giving them, supplying them and taking money. So like that, he finished all. But while he is doing, he saw the brahmachari standing at a distance. And he told the brahmachari, did that girl from that village, did that lady from that village send you? If she has sent, wait, he said. Then the brahmachari got much more surprised. How this butcher knows that the lady has sent me? It is not an everyday occurrence, you see. Crow falling on the head and I burn. It is not everyday occurrence. So I must know the secret. Then he waited. When the butcher has sold everything to the customers have gone, he cleaned the place and put a seat for the brahmachari. Please come and sit. I will tell you what is the secret of karma. And that is called in Mahabharata Vyada Gita. Vyada means hunter. One who goes, hunts and brings flesh and cuts it to pieces and sells to the society. People are there to meat eaters. They require meat. They cannot go to forest and catch. So this hunter goes. It is his swadharma, swakarmana. Swakarmana if you do, siddhim indati, you get success, Sri Krishna says. And in Mahabharata, the story says, then he explains to the brahmachari what is the secret of work. The secret of work is nothing but that removal of I-ness and minus. I am the karta. I am the bhokta, aham karta, aham bhorta. No, these are all done by God. He is the Prabhu, He is the Sakshi, and He is also bhokta. So, what I am doing, I'm enjoying, etc., is it proper for me to usurp that faculty to me, a very tiny human being? So, this is one of the important. Service to man is service to God. Then, in the modern days, especially the society is not equal, then what happens? Wherever service should be focused, so Swamiji gave a direction. He gave the direction to the monks of the Ramakrishna order and to the devotees associated with the order that focus upon the poor and the downtrodden. Downtrodden difficulties, if I tell you, it may take one whole class. How, with vengeance, the higher caste people have ruled over the lower caste people. And that difference is still continuing. Even after so many years of independence, we want to remove that difference. But because of the politicians, it is continuing. And as if there is no way now. Now you see, Swamiji focused on these two classes, poverty and downtrodden. They should be given all preference. He said that long back, and Indian constitution adopted that later, that point. So he says that this, as when you do this focus on the poor and downtrodden, then only some type of service can be done. Otherwise, the society that is flourishing, that is nourishing itself on the work of the others, what will happen? That will neglect these two groups of people. So always you'll find in the society, the poverty and downtrodden will be there. So the society cannot go to a status where you can feel the egalitarian society. So when I went to South Africa first, I was very pleased with the society, Indian society there. Quite a good number of Indians are there. But how the Indian society is functioning? No caste feeling. I found an egalitarian society. And no language differences also. There was a Tamil group, there was a Hindi group, and both groups coalesced so well, and they had intercaste marriages because they do not know what caste they are. If you ask somebody in South Africa, hey, what caste you belong to? They will say, I do not know. 4 generations before our forefathers came. And then when the Britishers who were ruling them, they wrote their names. They never wrote the caste name. So a boy's name is written down in the certificate. The surname is father's name. So you do not know the caste. So a society where casteless, no difference of the caste was there. It is an egalitarian society, I should say. And the people who are rich, they are ready to help the poor people. So this is how it should be done. Poverty should be removed. We say political slogans are there to removal of poverty. But how much poverty we have removed? Even if you have brought the standard of living standard to a higher step, to a higher level, I would say still if you go all over India and other third world countries, still poverty is there. Terrible, poverty is terrible. And so Swamiji was the first religious person, a monk, to focus on the two aspects of the society. Earlier to him, nobody focused on this. After Swamiji's coming, I tell you, many of the mutt, many of the ashrams all over India have changed their way of working. And they have started doing selfless service to the society. So today, it has been an accepted fact, and it is because of Swamiji. And Holy Mother wants to say that when you do the selfless action, you must keep the center in God. Then only work becomes as a spiritual discipline. So the motto of Swami Vivekananda, Atmano Mokshatam Jagat Hitaicha, for one's own liberation and for the welfare of the good of the society, is realizable only when you do the work as a spiritual discipline. So there are many people who think, yes, we must do some spiritual discipline. What is the spiritual discipline you are wanting to do? So it's, no, I want to take initiation, I want to take mantra and do japa. Okay, how long you will sit and do japa? I will do 108 times every day. More than that you can't do, no, more than that other works to do. So this is a spiritual work, so I will spend some 10 minutes. Or what you want to do, I'll go on pilgrimage, some people will say. That is my spiritual work. I'll go to different places of importance, go to Kashi, Gaya, Ganga, and all those places and visit and get myself enriched with the spiritual atmosphere of those places. So going to pilgrimage, it's called Tirtha Brahman. So that is one of my spiritual practice. Then some people say, no, I won't go anywhere. I don't have money to spend so much. I have got internet, I have got books. So I will read lot of Upanishads. I will study Upanishads. Then I will read Gita. I will read our own, in my mother tongue, I have got a lot of books. If you are Hindi speaking, you got Ramcharitmanas. So likewise, in each language, you got spiritual books. So I will read those books. So reading and understanding and writing articles, I will spend my energy in that type of intellectual activity. That is my spiritual practice. But nobody ever have told us working for the poor and the downtrodden is also a spiritual practice. This was the first time Swami Vivekananda brought this idea. Though the service to humanity has been there for ancient time, even from the Shivi Chakravarti, who cut his thigh flesh instead to a bird. And that type of wonderful sacrifices are there in our country. Lot of Puranas are there. But then for the modern day man, that you can join. That's why people come and join Ramakrishna Mission as a volunteers. It's a great value for the volunteers who come and join with the idea that every activity of them will be a spiritual activity. So these four principles are very important to understand the plan of work that is devised by Swami Vivekananda. In this, what is the central point I told you in the beginning of the talk? Central point is your worshipping God, the deity that you worship. The God can be any name, any form. For us, it is Sri Ramakrishna. So Holy Mother is telling here that make Sri Ramakrishna as the center of your activities. So that center, let any activity that comes out must spring from the center. That center is Sri Ramakrishna. Finished. So Atmano Mokshartham is fixed. Now Jagat is around you. So Jagat Hitaya, the welfare of the activities to the world is around. So any type of activity you do as a welfare measure, please imagine that Lord is present in the recipient of your welfare. If you give anything to anybody, think that Lord is present within him. So this is how very beautifully Holy Mother brings up here. So with this angle of vision that Holy Mother has taught us, this chapter is concluded, and next week we shall take the next chapter called At Belur and Banaras. Om Kripam Kuru Mahadevi Suteshu Pranateshu Cha Charanasrayadanena Kripamayi Namostute. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.